Hello, welcome to Maths by Miss B. Today's video is going to be about solving linear equations with unknown on both sides. So we've looked at some pretty straightforward solving linear equations, but we're just going to move on to something where we've got x or an unknown on both sides of the equations. So here's an example where we could have 6x minus 5 equals 2x plus 7. Now, as you can see here, we've got an x hanging around on the left hand side while 6x is there, and 2x is hanging around on the right hand side. Now we're solving equations here. To solve an equation, it's to help you work out the value of the letter. Now if we have an x hanging around on one side, it's usually pretty straightforward to eliminate everything else on that side and find the value of it. Here we have an x, well, x is on both sides. So what we're going to decide to do is look at the 2x, look at the 6x, and remove the one that is the least. Okay, so 2x is clearly less than 6x, so we are going to begin by removing 2x from both sides, and as we do that, just see what happens. So there's a reason behind all this. So let's take away 2x from the right hand side. What happens there? The 2x will disappear, leaves us with the 7. Take 2x away from 6x will give us 4x, and we've still got the negative 5 there. Okay, so now it looks like a pretty straightforward equation like the ones you may have seen in my previous video. 4x minus 5 equals 7. In order to get the 4x on its own, we need to remove the negative 5 here, because we want to get the 4x on its own. In order to remove the negative 5, we always do the opposite calculation. The opposite calculation in this case would be adding a 5 to both sides. When we add 5 to the left hand side, that leaves us with the 4x. When we add 5 to the right hand side, 7 plus 5 is 12. So 4 times something equals 12, or 4x equals 12. In order to eliminate the 4 and to leave the x on its own, we can get rid of that 4 by saying let's divide by 4. So we're going to divide the left and the right hand side by 4. That will give us x equals 3. Now once you've done that, you should be able to substitute your x value into the equation on the left hand side and the right hand side and see what you end up. Well, if you put 3 in here, you get 6 times 3, which will give you 18. 18 take away 5 will give 15. No, it won't. It will give you 13. Put 3 onto the right hand side here. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus the 7 will give 13. Now you've got the same answer on both sides. That indicates that this must be the correct answer. Next one goes something like this. Let's just introduce some brackets in there. We've got 4 bracket 2x minus 1 equals 3 bracket x plus 2 close bracket. The aim is still the same. We are solving to find out what the value of x is. But in order to do that, the first step here would be to expand the brackets. So multiply out the brackets, in other words. So this 4 is indicating that it's 4 lots of what's inside the brackets, and usually in algebra we don't tend to put the times sign in, but that's what it means in this case. And then you'll do the same to the right hand side. If you do 3 lots of x's and 3 lots of positive 2's, and again the sign that's missing here is a multiplication sign. Okay, so let's just go through and expand the brackets and see what we get. So 4 times 2x, or 4 lots of 2x, is 8x. 4 lots of negative 1. Okay, so we're going to do 4 lots of that negative 1. That will give negative 4. Same with the right hand side now. 3 lots of x, and then you want to do 3 lots of those positive 2's. Okay, so 3 lots of x is 3x, 3 lots of 2's is a positive 6. Now, looking back, that's what we had something like that in the earlier equation, that first one I did. So perhaps looks a bit more straightforward now. The aim is still the same. We want to get the letter x on one side so we can work out the value of it. What we do, we can look at these x coefficients, which are these. We always look to see which is the least one or the lowest one, and in this case 3x is clearly lower than 8x, so we could start with that. We could say, well, let's remove that positive 3x from the right hand side, and then we must do the same to the left hand side. Just as explained in the previous video, there's an equal sign here. That does mean whatever you do to one side, you do exactly the same thing to the right hand side in order to keep that balance. So 8x take away 3x will leave us with 5x, and then we have that negative 4. 3x take away 3x, that will make this 3x disappear, which is why we did it in the first place, to get rid of it from there so we don't have x's hanging around on both sides. So now we've ended up with 5x minus 4 equals 6. We want to get this on its own. Let's get rid of that negative 4. Think opposite. Let's add 4 to the left hand side and add 4 to the right hand side. As we add 4 to the left, we are left with 5x. Add 4 to the right hand side, we get 10. Okay, now 5x is worth 10. What is x worth? Now, to get rid of the times 5, because that's how this x and the 5 are linked, it's 5 times x or x times 5. Get rid of the times 5 by saying divide by 5. Okay, leaves you with x equals 2. Now you can substitute that back into the equation on the left hand side and the right, and if you end up with the same answer, which you will, then you'll find out that it's the correct answer. Let's try this one where we've got 6 minus 2x equals 3 bracket 1 minus x. I'm sure there's a reason why I'm showing you this one. So first step, expand the brackets. So you want to do 3 times 1, which is 3. 3 times negative x is minus 3x. We have a negative 2x on the left hand side, and we have a negative 3x. Now some people ignore the negative sign and just look at the 2x and the 3x and think 2x is lower than 3x, well, which it is, but as soon as you see a negative sign next to it, you will find that this negative 3x is lower than the negative 2x. So what we're going to do is go ahead and remove that negative 3x from the right hand side. You always want to pick out the lowest x. So in order to get rid of the negative 3x, we need to add 3x, but remember we do that to both sides. Now when we add 3x to the left hand side, we already have 6, we haven't done anything with that, but we have a negative 2x. Now a negative 2x, add 3x, what does that give us? So let me just write it to one side here, a negative 2x, add 3x. Okay, you can just do a calculation like minus 2 add 3 or a negative 2 add 3 will give you a positive 1x. But in algebra, remember, you don't have to put the 1 in. Okay, so the 3x has disappeared from the right hand side, and now we are left with just 3 on its own. We still haven't eliminated absolutely everything else and isolated the x yet, so we need to get rid of this 6. To get rid of the 6, we must subtract 6 from the left hand side and the right and see what it leaves us with. So that's going to leave us with x equals, we already have a 3 on the right hand side, take away 6 will leave us with a negative 3. And as always, you can substitute that back in to the right hand side and the left hand side and see what you end up with. You should end up with the same answer on both sides, and if you do, then you know you've got the correct answer. So when you see brackets, expand the brackets first, then make a move, have a look at the x's, look for the lowest one and aim to remove that one. So the aim is really to collect the x's onto one side, and then the other numbers on the other, in order to help us work out the value of that x. Okay, well, I hope this video helps. Please subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss the next video. Thank you. Bye for now.